This is about the polarisation of opinion, particularly in the UK, Western Europe and the US, and particularly due to the rise of social media. What I'm effectively saying is that opinion is becoming rapidly more extreme and rapidly more polarised. So it's separating at the two extremes of any particular matter, and it's becoming a lot stronger and it's reinforcing itself. And this is leading to a lot of changes in politics. This is leading to Brexit votes, Trump being voted in. This is leading to right-wing and left-wing extremist politics and other opinion. Let's look at an example. In the summer, it was the Football World Cup, and someone that I knew posted or shared a post on Facebook, and the post was about the police in the UK having been informed that they were to arrest anyone that was publicly displaying an England flag, whether that be on their house or pub or anything else. And there was this post from whoever, I have no idea who it was from, who put up this apparent news story, and it said on the post, "Reshare if you think this is appalling." And this chap that I knew shared the post. The post had been shared tens of thousands of times from people who clearly weren't being ironic. They clearly thought that this was actually going to happen, that the police in the UK were going to arrest people for showing the England flag. Now, it was false. It was completely inaccurate news. It may have been issued by the likes of the English Defence League, intentionally designing to whip up support for the English Defence League, for example. I don't know. But nonetheless, the chap I knew was convinced that it was real. Now, his attitude, certainly over the last 5 years, has become more and more right-wing, more and more bigoted. And the reason is that he is predominantly living in a world of social media. So all he is receiving from the likes of Facebook and Twitter is confirmation of his own views. Now, in the past, where did we get our opinions? We might have formed our own opinions based on the news, and we might have read the news in the newspapers or seen it on television. But we'd have been able to confirm our opinions usually through face-to-face interaction. For example, Friday night down the pub. Now, if we're talking to people down the pub on a Friday night, it's perfectly possible that our extremist views are confirmed by our small group of friends. However, we are in a public space. And if anyone in the pub disagrees with us, then I'm sure we'll hear about it. We're also aware that our views aren't necessarily acceptable outside of that quite small environment. So, in the past, with face-to-face interactions, we may have had extremist views and they may have been reinforced, but only in a very small, tiny area, and we were aware of that. The other place where we may have got opinions from in the past is obviously from the internet. And I'm talking the last 20 years, of course. But in terms of what we were searching on the internet, of course, we could have ignored everything that didn't confirm our own view and only looked at articles, news that confirmed our own worldview. However, the difference is that it would have been very difficult to completely ignore everything if we're searching the internet. The difference with social media is that it's specifically designed that we don't have to see anything that doesn't agree with what we think. So, not only, if we look at most social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, etc., your starting point is getting your friends on the platform, or seeing which of your friends are on the platform already. So straight away, obviously, you are only going to be receiving views and opinions from those that you're already linked to in some other format. Then the platform makes suggestions based on what you're searching for and what you are reading, whether that be on the platform or whether that be on Google, etc. So if you're searching consistently and looking at news relating to abortion being evil, for example, then the social media platform will provide you with a constant stream of news, suggestions of groups and friends, etc., who believe that abortion is evil. Now, this is, with the rise of social media, particularly over the last 5 or 6 years, what this is doing is it's creating confirmation bias for one. So we are confirming your own views, but also it's creating constant reinforcement loops. So people like the chap I mentioned earlier, who was reposting something potentially from the Women's Defence League, as far as he's concerned, he is just having his own opinion reinforced every single time he goes on social media. And he may be spending 2, 3, 4 hours a day having news, opinion, friend thrown at him, just confirming that he's right, and therefore everyone else must be wrong. And that is why he thinks it's acceptable to espouse these views himself to the wider public. Therefore, he is feeding the reinforcement loops of extremist views. What has happened with this, and it's really no surprise that Trump gets voted in. There's no surprise that Brexit happens. There is going to be no surprise when other radical decisions that, for example, the general media and perhaps the liberal populace don't think is acceptable. And it's because opinion is being polarised by social media and by the algorithms that social media uses. And what we expect to see is greater polarisation as time goes on, and greater distance between various different people and how they think. Liberals themselves will, of course, be polarised. Liberals themselves will be only looking at news that reinforces their own opinion. So we may have a right wing, we may have a left wing, we may have a apparently central ground, but they're all listening to, they're only seeing opinion that is confirming how they believe the world is working. That is why, or it's a major reason, why we have greater polarised opinion in the Western world, and why we will continue to have greater polarised opinion going forwards.